everyone. So I like doing these videos about science fiction and spirituality. And you might already know that I transfer these, as well as some other talks, onto my YouTube channel and to my podcast, Sci-Fi Spirit. It's just like a lot of fun for me to think about these things. They occur to me, or they have occurred to me for a long time, and I like the chance to reflect. It's kind of like I like to teach, and so now I get to just like teach from home on these little topics that come up. So today's topic, maybe not explicitly science fiction related, but connecting a little bit to last week when I was talking about Mulder and Scully, and how Chris Carter said that in an interview that those characters were parts of his psyche, and how we tend to carry these characters inside of us as part of us. And so I have 3 examples today. You might recognize them. So here in the corner is Judas and Peter, a la the New Testament, who hung out with Jesus. And then up here we have, of course, the stage version of Hamilton and Burr. And then again, the stage musical version of Valjean and Javert. And there are some interesting parallels between these men and the characters as they're represented, and how they represent this notion of like forgiveness and mercy and a lightness to things. Of course, maybe not of course, Judas and Peter. So Judas gets the bad rap in the Christian faith for being the one who betrays Christ. And it was one of our seminary professors who pointed out, well, actually, at least for me, Peter betrayed Christ 3 times. It's just that Peter was able to forgive himself and Judas was not. And in fact, in the New Testament, when Jesus appears to Peter and asks him 3 times if he will feed his sheep, that's sort of a mirror image of the 3 times that Peter betrays Christ during the crucifixion, when he denies knowing him. And of course, Judas is just not able to overcome the guilt, we could assume, that he feels, and he dies by suicide, which is a really painful loss. This is I would say a really, really direct parallel to these 2 men up here, these characters from Victor Hugo's Les Mis, which I'm going to be honest, I know the musical far better than I know the book, so that's my realm of reference. And Mr. Charles Conway took us to see Les Mis on stage in middle school in Columbus, Ohio, and he showed us the 10th anniversary edition over and over again in class. And so I fell in love with this version of Les Mis. And so this is Cole Wilkinson and Philip Quast here, in a very, both kind of looking very happy. Of course, the musical is a little more intense than that, but Valjean, as the story goes, Valjean is a criminal, and Javert releases him from prison, but he has to carry a prisoner's ID card everywhere he goes, and he has a very difficult time finding work. And he's in prison to begin with because he stole bread for his sister's children. He happens upon a monastery, I want to say it is, and finds a home there, but he steals from the men at the monastery, and he's caught. But when he's caught, they say they gave him the things that he stole, so he's not sent back to jail. And this act of mercy transforms him, and he lives a very secretive life, but a very generous life from that point forward. Javert, however, very law-abiding fellow who cannot see his way towards understanding Valjean's perspective. He's so conflicted that when in a point of really critical, it's in the heat of a battle in there, and they face off with one another, and Valjean lets him go. Valjean has a chance to exact revenge on him, and he lets him go. Javert can't accept or tolerate that mercy, and dies by suicide. So another really sad end here. And then, of course, finally over here, Hamilton and Burr. Hamilton, as the songs say, Hamilton kind of lives life the way he wants to live it. And Burr struggles with that. He tries to follow a stricter set of rules or expectations for people, and he gets constantly frustrated with Hamilton. Of course, the difference in the story being that it's during a duel that Burr kills Hamilton. Again, another very sad end. And the song from the end, of course, is Burr reflecting that the world was wide enough for Hamilton and me. So think these men are, again, representatives of our own nature, right? These extremes, I mean, clearly Hamilton and Burr were historical figures, but we're working with a slightly fictionalized version of them here. And of course here too, right? We're working with these stories that have been handed down for generations. But to put these characters on stage, on screen, and carry them around with us, we have a sense of who we want to be like and who we don't want to be like. There's a wonderful teaching from Dr. Kristen Neff, and she says how painful self-criticism is, right? How painful it is to be the Judas, the Javert, the Burr, how painful that part of us is. But really, there's it's much harder to be vulnerable and sit with the part of us that failed. It's much easier to be the critical voice that points out what the failure is, because that feels safer. It feels safer to know right from wrong. And I mean, these are all male characters, of course, but I haven't looked too far, have any come to mind. There might be other gendered characters that would represent these same ideals. And this notion of being a rule follower versus extending grace and mercy to someone, which is something probably a bigger conversation than a 10-minute like TikTok video. But yeah, these gentlemen were hanging out in my thoughts this week, and I thought I would share this notion with you. Again, as Dr. Neff said, it is sometimes more comfortable to be the self-critic than to be the vulnerable one who has made a mistake or who needs grace. And if we can learn to sit with that part of us, the flawed part of us who, like Peter, failed, who, like Valjean, failed, who, like Hamilton, like a bit of a mess and made lots of mistakes. If we can learn to sit with those parts of us, I think that self-critic dies down a bit. You know, I think that there is still space and mercy for Judas and Javert and Burr, even if we don't see it in the story. So I hope that you have mercy for yourself and for others today and throughout the week, that you are inspired wherever you are and however this video finds you, and that you remember you got this.